Good morning, ladies and gents. Good morning, ladies and gents, and welcome to the after Super Bowl edition. The after Super Bowl edition of A Different View, Valentine's Day episode number 2. I just tack in that little Super Bowl thing because I think it's cute. It gives some breakup in the mind there from the content that we're going on, because it gets deep, and I do understand that, y'all. We'll try different little ways here. We'll see what works and what doesn't. So hopefully y'all all had a good Super Bowl deal. I did, because I got to see the 49ers lose. Although little sports thing, I mean, I really don't consider myself a sports analyst, although I paid attention enough to the game to know one from a financial spot. The NFL won yesterday, no matter who lost or who won. So the NFL was the one winning, and that's like that with every other big corporation. And this is not to down big corporations, okay, guys? Because again, life in balance, right? Again, where you got the big ones, you got to also have a lot of the small ones. And I know where y'all, but again, this kind of bleeds in a little bit to this is a relationship, right? We talked about relating, the ability to act, to tell, to relate in words. This is what the base word in relationship means. See, again, relationship, guys, you are dealing with. Let me start off with this one thing before I continue with the Super Bowl. No one owns anyone. The subject of possessions. If I repeated this last night, repetition is good well, literally, I did do that episode last night. Last time, we'll say, just for reference. The subject of possessions, aka what can be possessed, right? So like what you own. Well, what can you own, right? Again, no one is owned. Unfortunately, many things of human interaction, the most popular ones we know, where people do this ownership thing. Of course, you have sex trafficking and stuff like that, for what Vince McMahon is allegedly on the line for, which it looks less alleged than not, but we'll leave it at alleged, right? Again, for the sake of things, people like to sue everybody today, and unfortunately, because of a greedy environment, suing has become one of America's pastimes, unfortunately, because a lot of folks don't like to work for stuff. And then on top of that, we're going to get into this word benign neglect, folks. Just keep this word in mind, because it's what's happened. It's going to be a little thing that we talk about just for a little bit here. Benign neglect deals with this idea, deals with this idea that a thing's going on, you're just not saying anything about it. Y'all can look up the definition online. I was going to read it, but there's no reason to. I already looked at it, so I already know. Again, hopefully y'all do go look at that definition of the word benign neglect. They use big words in it when you first look at it, but again, all it is dealing with is a person knowing a thing and acting like we see nothing. That kind of thing, just to rob from those across the world that have a little bit different accent than mine. Which that is a topic in and of itself, how we've gotten our accents, but we'll leave that alone for a different day. Man, so much, y'all. Benign neglect when it comes to relationships. We need to erase that. Seriously. It's doing a lot of damage to relationships. In the Super Bowl here, now this is what I mentioned with the halftime show. So when you get past the game, because again, guys, the game is football. A lot of people don't. While a lot of people watch football, let's do this in real time. Because again, I know people say that too much stuff is fake news and all that kind of thing. Guys, they've been doing that for a long time. Back in the Revolutionary War, they were doing that back then. what was fake and wasn't fake, all to sway one way or the other for that war to win, which again, at the end of the day, when you look at the totality of it, there was nothing about freedom or anything like that. It was just, how was England going to get over here and make it look most legit? that was the point. Okay. And so you make up this taxation without representation, and whoop, whoop, the British are coming and all this other kind of stupid stuff. It's sad, y'all, right? In reality, while the play that was done in humanity, you look back over time, it's kind of silly how they did it. At the end of the day, that's why I'm saying, guys, everybody looks to the president as like this, that the president's the leader of the free world. Again, guys, we're talking a carnival game here with the ball and the cup, y'all. The president's not. Just because you see the last person giving an edict or a decree, this is old school words, right? Y'all can look those two words up, because I strongly suggest that people do that. You know, when we talk in conversations with each other, what does that mean? Take the time right there, y'all. Again, it don't take that long unless your phone signal is bad. You know, just look up words, phrases, all this stuff. Teach yourself. School's not over, guys. You know, because school is not as, and shout out to the teachers who make it fun, right? Shout out to the teachers who make it learning interesting, because guess what, y'all? See, I keep coming up with these words and phrases here on this show to kind of to show a thing. Education can be interesting. They say reading is fundamental, so we'll go with that one. Education is interesting. Education is interesting, y'all. Knowledge is truly power, and because of that, education, real education, learning about this world around you, not the garbage they keep telling you. Learn more of this. Is a deep reality we live in, y'all, coming from a deep creator. It is very interesting. So, we'll just I'm just gonna go. We're gonna leave it alone. Oh boy, guys, we're just gonna leave it alone. So Usher's halftime show. We're just gonna move on here for the lack of time here. One, how did y'all think about Usher's halftime show? Again, keep the idea of benign neglect in mind, guys, when you talk. See, this is the new. Yeah, I gotta say it. This is the new racism, y'all. This is the new racism. Acting like nothing's going on when something is going on. That's the way they do it nowadays. There's no laws anymore, right? Well, I mean, they already started on abortion. I guess they're gonna keep going. They already got the one where you can't serve. You're allowed to not. And see, again, we're talking about taking holy notions and twisting them. That's fine if you don't want to serve certain people that you don't like and this, that, and the other. But again, if you set the precedent for one, what is to say you won't do it to anybody? And everybody's got a gripe with somebody. Unfortunately, people are not walking in love with this thing, so they're just letting the gripes do the talking. I know it's going to be a challenge to some people because, again, there's a lot of defenses in the mind, but here we go. And again, if none of this applies to you, don't get upset. See, another one of these is offense, this pseudo offense that goes there. And again, we understand the truth is offensive, so people get in their feelings, as they say on the block, on the street, in the hood, right? But at the end of the day, again, that's thanks to some black folks here bringing out another term for. See, again, start giving credit where credit is due, y'all. This is the point. People get mad at the Indians for having these casinos and all this. Again, excuse me, the natives of this land having casinos and stuff like that. Why? Just when you look at the totality of things, yeah, we understand it robs from this piece of the pie for you, but again, you have stepped into a game where pirating has already begun, and like we said last time, the generations after pay the penalty for the ones before, y'all. This is why the parent-child, and I know everybody talks about parent-teacher, the parent-child dynamic, needs to get better. You are leading your children down a path, but do not think that there should not be some back and forth talk with y'all. It's supposed to be respectful, both of you to each other. Depends on what age you start embracing certain things to talk with your kids about. Again, I'm bleeding over into another part of this, but we're going to keep going with it. So understand, guys, to come out of that hyperspace lane, I'm the parent, this is what I say goes. We're not talking about a full world where your kids are talking back to you in some of the garbage we see when we shop in Walmart every day. We're not talking. We're not talking about that, guys. Healthy conversations. See, but again, when you got all this territorial garbage going on, you're the kid, you stay here, you do this, you kill that part of it. So now when they got, so how could you have verses to talk about out the mouth of babes if the kids ain't doing no talking, huh? I know. See, again, I know how hard it rocks the mind because that's one of them walls of defenses that's getting hit right now. But it was put there to keep division between the parent and child, and then the full training process is never completed, guys, because they see you in a certain light. And this is for the ones that even love their parents most. Lord, I wish I could say that. This is for the ones that love their parents most. To the most dedicated parents, we're talking about the pitfalls of the enemy, and to those parents that may be listening. While your children are still alive, repair them gaps. Have those conversations with your babies. The wolves are out there. The idea of this thing is to destroy the family dynamic, not build it up, God. That's the opposite, right? And I know everybody want to take out that division in this and what they think the downfall of the family is through transgenderism, if we're going to put a word like that on it, or homosexualism, because that's two different things, and you being transgender and you being homosexual. I'm sorry, y'all. We got to understand that. We got to understand the breakdowns here. People are taking words and phrases and holy notions, living notions. Yes, I put the word holy in there. And again, you are allowed to live. The holy part of this, y'all, is you're allowed to live your life down here as you so choose. Now, is there responsibility to each one of us? Yeah, but that don't mean you don't go doing a thing. We just gonna say nope. This is why I said this a long time ago, guys. Where's the do's at? We're good on the no's and the don'ts. Where are the do's at? And it's a lot harder for people to identify that. They could rattle off don'ts to you a mile long. They don't. That do one gets a lot shorter. That's a problem, guys. Do not think the Creator made this thing like that. People do that, man. That's not. Anyway, so it was cool seeing Usher's deal. Again, we're talking about putting some folks on stage here. I know, guys, right? Because 3 or 4, but see, in the mind of some people, 3 or 4 black folks is enough. They got a problem with 1. See, we're talking about this which we live in now, guys. That was birthed way back when. Y'all might as well find out. Y'all might as well find out how horribly they killed black people, butchering them like animals. There, you got some accounts where they ate them, y'all. They ate black people. They ate them. Seriously? Cannibalism? Now, again, we understand there's nothing new, right, under the sun. And we understand cannibalism is just about as old as humanity is. But still, ate them? You ate that. I understand the trigger this might be for some people. And we'll have a content warning on some of these episodes because we understand. Okay? So that you are prepared. Again, Valentine's Day, guys, goes a little deeper than just Cupid and firing arrows and people doing this kind of thing. Because again, the subject matter that's at stake here is love and human interaction, guys. That subject goes pretty deep. Which is why it's important. Anytime you got a chance to give a gift to somebody, anytime you got to see, we're talking about like that thing we talked last time about suicide, right? Get involved, y'all. Get involved in a person's life before it's too late. And now they're on the other side and you're here and you can't reach them. The Bible talks about this idea. Let's see if I can bring it up. And the only reason you can't reach them is because you're here on this plane, right? We're talking about what you could say to a person face to face, where you don't need a medium. You don't need another go-between because they're right here in front of you. See, that's the. Oh man. Let's see, verse about not coming here. Let's see. Let us see here what it'll do. Sometimes you have to ask your computer, your phone, the right question. Because again, all of this is made up of questions people have asked over time when you do Google or Microsoft, Bing, whatever. It's a collection of questions that then have been answered by the people and all this kind of thing. And this info posted online based on the certain questions. And, here it is. But let's see. Because again, I don't take the time to see the stories are in my heart and mind. So I can always go online and then re-look up. Might take me a little. And go online and then refine what I'm talking about. So Luke 16. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. So yep. They use the word certain rich man. This is Jesus talking. Okay. Certain rich man, which starts off in the chapter talking about you cannot. Lord, this is so big because people two-step too much in their mind. You cannot serve two masters. This is verse 13. We're going to be talking in the 20s, but verse 13. You can't serve two masters. You will either hate one or love the other. I do not know. I don't know why folks haven't got a hold of this, man. So life is lived in balance. So there are multiple things here. We're talking about serving. We talk about that which you give your dedication to. This is why it's so damaging when everybody splits their families apart by going into. Now again, you have multiple kids. You have to understand you're gonna have multiple things going on, y'all. So are you ready for that? Like seriously, it's a question to ask. Are you ready to have that much going on in your life? You'll have very little rest. Which is why people space apart when they have babies and all that kind of thing. Some people are okay with it, some are not. But again, it's a question to ask. I heard a guy one time say on a podcast, pretty powerful podcast, that you should ask 300 to 500 questions. Check that out, y'all. Now again, we're just talking about sitting back, studying, looking at life, giving a perspective, y'all. Not saying that who I heard this from is a PhD or any of that, right? Because this is the next thing we do that we BS ourselves with. You have to have a PhD in order to. Oh, the only people who know who can say a thing are the ones who went to doctor school. You see, you shut off the streams in which you can learn something, guys. Y'all can learn something from, as we call them, a bum on the street. Seriously, knowledge is hidden in everybody, y'all. In the most unlikeliest of places. You want to learn more and push yourself, man, go to those places. Again, you keep a balance of where you are at, what you believe in. But Lord, guys, you keep anyway. A certain rich man was clothed in purple and fine linen, did his thing every day, fared sumptuously. In the King James just means you was living life high on the hog, as the term goes, right? Certain beggar named Lazarus. A couple times the word Lazarus repeats itself here. Some people bug out over whether this Lazarus is the same Lazarus that may could have been, or it could not have been. Doesn't that part is not even really to get tied up into, really. Certain beggar named Lazarus was at the gate, full of sores, desiring to be fed with crumbs, which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came, and on top of this, right? So on top of that, the dogs were licking this man's sores, just to give you a visual. So when y'all talk about this kind of thing with homeless people, again, Jesus is doubling down on this idea that the poor you will have it you always, y'all. Again, this is not to look away and be like, ooh, this is to help out folks. The quicker we start doing that, the stronger we are as a society. So, again, you can use a lot of defenses in the mind. Oh, they're just trying to be. Okay, hey, again, we can keep on going the way we're going, guys, because clearly how we've been doing this so far is doing good. We held down all the different cultures. You know, we promoted one of them. And we've been doing good right now, I guess, right? Yeah. That's another one, how far we've come. If I could just put a pause here real quick. How far have we come? How far have we come, y'all? See, because again, what we're looking at is rockets and bombs and guns and even technology with flip phones. So your phone can fold. They went back to this with the Z Flip, if I'm saying it right, the Z Flip 4, right? and again, this is all well and good, but is that they were building pyramids, guys, without textbooks and stuff back in the day. What are we see, again, because we sell ourselves short of ourselves as the great creation made. We have no idea what power we're sitting on, yo. We don't, but again, it's hidden in earthen vessels, is what the Bible tells you. Again, you have no idea. The spirit world, we are frighteningly very little knowledge of. Right there in front of us, but we just, anyway. Came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. That ought to be a little side note there, just to y'all who are concerned about who's going to heaven, who's not. This is just an average, everyday beggar. I'm just telling you about the knowledge we walk over, y'all. See, because again, we got them judgment classes on. Man, your ways. This is the Bible talking to you. Your ways are not your ways. You don't know. Again, the dumb are to confound the wise. This is what the Bible tells you, right? Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, is what I'm sorry. Was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. We saw this in that Indiana Jones movie, right? The Last Crusade. Everybody was so sure of themselves. Maybe the ones who are not so sure of themselves are the ones that are going. I digress. So this is not, again, we're talking about open up your heart to love and drop the division. Drop the division. The one human race down here, guys, split apart into multiple languages and ethnicities and cultures and stuff, guys. But and each one to be respected. See. Anyway, it's carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried in hell. Now again, in hell. He lifted up his eyes, being in torments, actually. So, seeing Abraham from afar and Lazarus in his bosom, cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in some water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. Dehydrated. Clearly is one of the torments because, and he can feel it because we're talking all this, and never mind. And again, some people don't take this literally, so I understand. There's a thought process here that gets down to this verse. Verse 26, besides all this, there's a great gulf fixed between us, so that they which passed from here to you cannot, and they neither can they pass to us that would come from you, or from hence, from there, from you. Sometimes you can use you and a place interchangeably. Again, this is this equivocal language we have been given here. So, guys, would just say all this to say, hey, there's some things here that are reversible, some things that are not reversible. And when you're talking about benign neglect, excuse me, this is where we have the chance to do some serious healing in humanity, guys. Start giving credit. It's cool to, again, and you want to say, hey, well, I did the same thing for Bruce Springsteen. If he was up on stage and it was horrible and blah, blah. Now, again, go back and read some of the articles here on Bruce Springsteen's halftime show. Nobody had a problem with it. Right? And of course, everybody's so shocked about Justin Timberlake. I get a chance to finally talk about some of this stuff. So everybody saw you know, ain't nobody seen a wardrobe malfunction before, and ain't no. See, again, we're talking about this sexual repression because, again, you want to tell me full nudity at the Super Bowl halftime show is supposed to be something going on? No, but you want to tell me everybody's going to be so shocked you ain't seen a pair of women's breasts before? We kind of overplay a thing a little too much, man. Whether you want to tell me that was design, not design, again, why are we wilding when everybody has seen, everybody, from babies to old men, we have all seen a pair of women's breasts before. We have all seen chest before, okay, y'all? I mean, anyway, but see, that was at a time where everybody's, again, sexual repression was way too high. Way too high. That was the breakout party back then, guys. That was like the beginnings of the breakout party back then. See, we're talking about how generations get away from a thing because the other one, life is always in balance. So where you have it way repressed, guess what you're going to see on the other side? Which is the caution, y'all, as we go into the other side here, to use responsibility. Use responsibility. Don't be bringing 4,800 babies in this world. You can't take care of them. If it's only 2, go with 2. If it's only 1, go with 1. If it's 3, go with again. But you gotta be prepared for that. You'll have to sit down, have a conversation. I mean, it's for real. You have heart's desires in your mind, but you have to temper that with what actually can work. Now, again, you want to take the leap. Again, everyone we're talking about choice here, right? Y'all heard me over and over talk about choice, right? We have the choice to choose. You want to go for 3, go for 3. Okay, or more, whatever, right? Be fruitful and multiply is what you were told. Wasn't told how, it's told you to multiply. And multiplication can happen in different ways, and the fruitfulness can happen in different ways other than just the baby. We understand what the verse is talking about in its primary function, but it's not the only one. Everybody takes things in its face value. You can't. Benign neglect is something that totally ignores the face value. So for me, I'm cool with Usher, man. This is a celebration in Black excellence. I know people have. See, again, when you have like that black doll thing, I posted that up on my Facebook page because it's so horrible. When you have a thing where you taught people dark skin color was evil. That's what the black doll thing was back in the 60s. How sick. So now you got people of different skin tones got a problem with their skin tone because you told them. And what do you think that pours over from? That pours over, what pours over to, I should say. Pours over into every part of the culture of a person with dark skin color. So we make fun of the women that wear clothing and adornments in their hair. Why? Because of their dark skin color. Got nothing to do with the culture they came from. Somebody brainwashed you to believe in somebody. Hey. This is what I'm saying. With mental health, man, y'all, you better sit in them chairs, find you somebody that works for you, and sit in that chair and get some healing in the mind, because this stuff is broken, y'all. This stuff is way, 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 way broken. Again, can you just dislike a person's deal? Absolutely you can. But you know that's not the only thing that's going on with people, y'all. You know it. You can hear it. You can sense it in what you see it, right? And I know already we at mid-morning here, I'm sure a bunch of people have already downed and trashed and done all that mess, guys. Again, it's one thing for you to like a thing or dislike a thing. It's another thing when that goes into a totally different thing. So, that's what I got on that. It's the same kind of this benign neglect thing. We'll just stay here, and then we'll end this. Maybe we'll keep on going. There's some things on the heart here. When it comes to benign neglect, you see it with snow removal. So talk about that for a second. Snow removal, guys, listen, I understand in certain places, and we're talking about your money now. See, we got election day coming, and everybody, which one's thinking Democratic or Republican, guys, the snow removal trash is the same with both. They not paying. See, again, we understand in certain states you get it once or twice a year, and this is the stuff they'll tell you. Just a side note, guys, the snow removal rules change Whether it was once or twice a year as to 20. The same principles are the same, right? You just can't leave. It's going to get colder at night, so the stuff freezes. So you want to remove it during the day. Again, you got to see. Again, I am of the persuasion that it just comes down. I know. See, when we're talking about the differences in the mind, some of this really just comes down to they don't want to do with your tax dollars what's good for y'all, or what's necessary for y'all. Stop asking people to come to work in Disney on Ice. Why are you doing that? You are inviting people to hurt themselves, and when you get to, oh well, it ain't that bad outside, and y'all just being sissies and again, and then promptly to slip, fall, and bust your butt in a parking lot, going somewhere you shouldn't because no one took care of the roads and walkways before we all go to work, y'all. Certain places are way better than this with others. They get it. I can understand. This is not cool. Guys, this is not cool. And when you're talking about things to sit at the table to talk about during your community meetings and stuff, this is one of them. This is one of them. For the elderly, for the young, for the middle-aged, it don't matter who. Human bodies fall, break, bones crack. Concussions can happen if you smack your head on the ground or on something else that's on the ground. Guys, hello here. No. Oh, well, back in the day, when they ain't had nothing, they just... Guys, they did the same thing then that they do now. As a matter of fact, because unfortunately, they did not fill, or fortunately, they did not fill their lives with so much fluff that they were able to sit there for a couple of days. Now, you want to tell me what production was lost and this, that, and the other? Again, guys, it's life and balance. We'll pick that stuff up on the back end. See, greed has gotten in the way of this thing, y'all. You ain't making no money if you broke in the hospital with a busted leg because you slipped on something. Just saying, and this is your money that they said, screw that. They got mounds of ice and salt, and they give you excuses a mile long. It's the same thing with people with their dogs and stuff. Oh, there, and I'm going there, y'all. See, again, because we can get happy about Michael Vick, and man, we got the choir, the tambourines going, and all this kind of stuff on dog behavior as far as how humans supposed to treat animals, which again, all you need to do is go look at hunters and all this kind of stuff, which again, benign neglect. We turn that blind eye to it. We know nothing. They hunting down for tusk, and we understand that there's been work done from way back when till now. But again, human interaction with animals is somewhat poor, y'all. It is. All you need is to see another news article about how somebody beat a dog or got, But again, so we good on that one, but we ain't good on picking up our dog's stuff. Yeah, we'll say it that way while we walking them. Like it's supposed to break down naturally, just how's that supposed to work, guys? And especially when the various, because they're slowing down your, I know no one's really paying attention to it, but they're slowing down your house production and building more apartments. Oh no, hey KJ, come on, they got this house, they got this housing complex they building up right over here by my house, man. What you talking about? Again, they each their own, man. At the end of the day here, they don't want you owning anything. They want to own it. So you have these apartment complexes with people walking their dogs and you got fecal matter all over the place. Guys, how does that work? How does that work? I'm just saying, how does that work? How does that work? What did y'all think? Just the rain was going to come by and wash away the dog poop? Maybe tooth fairy type stuff. Like this is stuff we tell our kids and stuff, right? So you lose your, and I get it, because you want to make it nice well, we get it, right? And there's a lot of family tradition that is built around this whole idea of the tooth fairy, okay? At the let's just here it is. Here it is. When you look up how long does dog poop take to decompose, you find some very shocking answers. Some people say as long as 9 weeks. This is why you could see somebody walk their dog, drop it off. Sometimes you see this with cats too. And it's just there, y'all. It ain't going nowhere. You have rainstorms incoming, don't wash it away the next day unless it's small. These big old things, people leaving mounds of mess all over the place. It's not. Within here's another one here from conserveenergyfuture.com. Within 2 months and a week. So like 9 weeks. Right, this is which we just said here beforehand. Another one, a year to fully decompose. Okay, couple of more. They keep saying this. Up to 7 days. Again, this 9 weeks thing keeps coming up. 2 months, which again is just closer to. Guys, it don't just go away, right? Pick up after your dog, please. Please. And I know people are going to do what they want to do, right? It's just that's the whole concept of even the podcast here, but we're going to put the truth out there anyway. Pick up after your dog, right? You're sharing things with other people here. You got to pick up, oh, you don't understand. See, I fed my dog, blah, 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 blah. And it ain't pick upable, man, because this thing is like a Charlie. This is like a Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, like river out here, man. We can't. We get it, okay? We get it. Make it manageable, all right? That's not happening with every dog. Can we be honest here? That's not happening with every dog, man. We're not talking about the extreme. People like doing that. See, again, in the world of benign neglect, you like doing extremes. Like saying extremes to gotta get people off the path. Guys, we got to stop doing that silliness, man. It's the same thing when you talk about sex and stuff. Well, what happens if this happened with this? They come out with the weirdest things. We've all heard these weird expressions people use. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but they're coming, y'all. We'll give you different examples. Not to say they all don't already know. It's just time to stop the charade, guys. Again, when they give bags. You can makeshift your own bags, whatever it is. Like you're tracking when the stuff's not decomposing and you've got multiple dogs all in one of these places. Where are you tracking the whole end, man? It's getting on your shoes. You're okay walking around in poop, yo? Yeah. Oh my Lord, man! Again, this is the noble KJ. You don't understand. See, back in the day. We got to stop certain levels of dysfunction. We do. Just a little bit of this on relation. We want to continue here with this. The Latin derivative from the word relatio, meaning a bringing back, a restoring. This is some powerful stuff, y'all. A report, a proposition. Since folks like using the word compromise so much, let's look at the word proposition. Because, again, y'all, when they talk on business, see, this is why I have no problem with because these are the things that are there, guys, under the surface. See, they take your likes and dislikes and then go further with it to bind you, right? So now it's just not, I just didn't like that because, wait, I seen my man dancing back in 2003, and whatever he doing right now in 2024, this man need to retire. Okay, that's all well and good. Again, we have watched, and hey, you make the old critiques for old rock bands and stuff, you'll say the same thing about Kiss or whatever, we get that, right? For the Latin community, y'all say the same thing about Julio Iglesias, Ricky. It doesn't matter which one. Pitbull. It don't matter who you're talking about. Bad Bunny when he get older. Like, again, we have that critique. Oh, it don't look like it used to. But at the same time, realize they take this and they go further with it. Or certain people that's talking like that already have a serious hidden agenda against a certain person there. I mean, it's just a real thing. Young people pick it out all the time when they talk, when the grandparents start talking, because it's in there, it's there, it's embedded in the mind, y'all. So And again, kids are full of life to the point they see it, they call them out, and your parents too. They call it out, as they should. Okay. No, Susan, don't you talk like that. I'm like, no, maybe she got a point. Anyway, proposition's a statement or an assertion that expresses a judgment or opinion. Again, nothing wrong with judgments or opinions. It is when they go too far. Like from where you just don't like them bunch of Africans in that jungle over there to y'all now cannot go anywhere unless we tell y'all where to go, or own stuff unless we tell y'all what to own, or marry who you want unless we tell y'all who to marry. Which is what the slave codes were full of. You want to know why black folks have a problem owning stuff in this planet? Why people, because again, if you did it to one person, you can do it to anybody. Why people have a problem owning things? This is why when you see certain folks getting into labor suits, strikes and stuff, whether they're rich or poor, don't poo-poo it, pay attention to it, because it also affects you. You live in the same planet. They're just they're in a different part of it. Trade and commerce. Initially, this is me reading the slave codes here. These are some of the slave codes across states. Again, today's Lincoln's birthday, right? He wanted to keep the Union together, guys. This is something you can look right online. He did not, there was no, hey, we really care about black folks here. I know y'all want, I know to hold on to certain things. You're looking at it that way. We were collateral damage. Like many other people. Collateral damage in the game of greed. It's what this is. And again, we can make it better, hence the fight. Again, you thinking this thing is coming from Democratic or Republican parties, y'all are wrong. Man. I thought it was pretty cool last night. They put up the dude on the Independent Party. Again, I think the president thing is a little bit of a farce, because the deeper thing is in the states. You keep reading through history, you start seeing this. Look at your state legislation, which then breaks down into your communities. That's where the deeper look to the rules, not the people, the rules. What do they stand for? Because if that's the case, I'm not voting for this person. Just give me the rules and I vote on them. We can leave the person alone. We could do it the opposite way, where we vote on a bunch of rules and then bring the person over who would honor those things. See, but when you're talking about what's for the people, that's where all the problem comes in. Because they made sure you have such lower self-esteem about yourself. You don't even look at it that. You don't even look at it that way. People bring up certain things like this. Folks think they're nuts. Why? Because that's a defense in the mind there. Viable topics people are bringing up, y'all. We got to pay attention. We got to pay attention because it's our life on the line. Everybody was all about Donald Trump, man. I'll get him out. Not realizing Joe Biden wanted to do this. See, again, it don't have anything to do with Democratic or Republican. All right, fine. You want a guy not railing the country? Here, we're going to give you one where they're going to push you out. Whatever. It is what it is. Y'all look at it the way you want to. Trade and commerce by slaves. Initially, most places gave enslaved people some land to work personally and allowed them to operate their markets. As slavery became more profitable, slave codes reached, notice it right there, greed. Look at all of that term. Slavery becoming profitable. How far we've come? We ain't come that far. See, again, thinking more highly than you should. Y'all know this same mess was going on way back when in the 900s and stuff, y'all. This is not just a disease of today, unfortunately. Now, again, that little experiment we did here on these lands with all of those who were native to these lands, which includes our Latin brothers and sisters. Because again, we chopped up Mexico like it was in a food processor. What's left over is not what was there when England came calling. I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay, when Europe came calling, Mexico was way more vibrant than what you see now, man. Again, you had shades of brown here on these lands, guys. Anyway, became more profitable. Slave codes restricting the rights of enslaved people to buy, sell, and produce goods were introduced. When you look at every rule, I want to be clear, every rule that has gone, law, whichever word you want to use, that has gone since those codes were made, has been minimal to non-existent about what those of the darker skin tones can own. Listen to the words very closely. See, it's one thing to be the face of a company. It's another thing when you own that thing. And we're not talking 49, 51% ownership. See, again, we're starting to hit at the core of this thing. We're talking about you own it, right? The Black Wall Street that they only give credit to Tulsa for, when you realize there were multiple Black Wall Streets, look it up. Look it up. You had a bunch in the Carolinas. You had some up in Michigan. And they were all over this nation, y'all. And they all got burned down to the ground, just the same as Tulsa. But benign neglect tells you we don't know nothing about that. Now, that couldn't possibly be true. No, we're not a racist nation. We're a God-fearing nation. Guys and God, this is specifically to my Christian brothers and sisters. Y'all got to back up off that. That was God used. The only thing God-fearing about this nation is the fact that God was used to make it. That's it. Now you introduce a certain kind of element when you do that, see? Because now you've introduced the creator of the life, the Lord of glory, right? We're talking to Christians right now. Get it in your head that this is not for you, to turn on you just as quick. Because they used you just as quick. See, again, we're talking propositions. We're talking about, and I still got that video and everything. We're gonna get there, guys. We're gonna get there. This is a big old conversation, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. Again, when you're talking about relationships, this is life, man. This is what it's made up. The relationship between the employer and employee. And see, again, when you got slave owners allowed to restrict the movements of one people from owning things, what about everybody else? Y'all all in the same soup. You think they look at you differently? Oh boy, go back in the day to the one black drop blood drop rule. This is where this unfortunate thing with mulattoes and all this comes into play. Mixed babies. Horrible. Because they're still human. Last I checked. Nope. You know, their great grandmama's black. We can't have them here. See, and again, has a lot of that mess gone toward the wayside, as it should, yes. But it is still too much of the psyche today, y'all. And it takes men and women standing up, young and old. It takes men and women standing up saying a thing, because it's wrong, guys. It's wrong. They human like you. Doctors and lawyers and statisticians and every other thing that makes up that like human, just like you. And me. So. A suggested program or plan of action, especially in a business context. Guys, when we say the word business, understand that it deals with competition. That's why you could see so much stealing. You look at certain patents and stuff that go back in the day. They had a little TV show about it. I believe it was with the Heinz Company. A couple of these businesses that just started in this nation when it was first made, where people were stealing their patents from right under them, guys. Again, this is why you got to know the laws. And again, the basis in most laws starts right in the slave codes. You don't have to go that far. Don't you think for one second, if they didn't have regulations for the blacks, that they didn't have them for women. And if they had regulations for the blacks and women, do not think they didn't have regulations for any other culture, anybody different than those who were European men, guys. I don't know how else to say it. This is why with this Vince McMahon thing, women got to stand up for their. We understand how things can be manipulated. We're talking about the fact, the act That's not supposed to be happening. Your name ain't supposed to be in that. As soon as something like that comes up, because you are so opposed to it and not in it, it's automatically supposed to be put away. Again, we understand of mistaken identity and all that kind of thing. I get that. We're talking about where your reputation is such it never becomes a thing, guys and gals. So we're gonna stop right there. We in part 2. This is part 2. We gotta walk to walk, y'all. So, but it's an important one. Okay, it's an important one. In the Anglo-French relation. So for my French folks out there, and again, that Anglo-French, realize in England, so we're talking about 1300s, 1400s, right, 1200s, guys. A lot of infighting going on in England. And that mess poured over. Again, this is England 2.0. This is Europe 2.0 over here, guys. I know what y'all gonna say, but we just saying what it is. This is what it is. When you go to the crux and the foundation, just about most everything we do, man, it's got something to do with somewhere other than here. Again, the things other than here, we've pushed to the side in reservations, guys. That's what's here. The here, like the America part. All the other stuff is coming from Europe. Some of it comes from Latin influence. Some of it comes from Asian influence. The stuff that is American, those guys were pushed away. They walked trails, y'all, right? This is what we learned about in history. You want to get to know America, that's where you got to go first. Sorry. And hey, they are do them casinos, guys, just like black folks that do certain businesses. It was cool for me to find out there's some black folks that own breweries. If I'm going to get drunk off the wheat, growing up from that, we talked about this before with cannabis and everything. The wheat growing up out the ground of which can be made to do that. Yeah, I want to know my brothers and sisters can make that stuff, huh? It's cool the Germans to do it. What about the rest? Anyway, oh, man. Anyway, so with the Super Bowl, you know the reason that you have the Super Bowl's halftime show like that. I'm just gonna read this here, and some of y'all may know it, some of y'all may not. But talking about Usher and all that kind of thing, right? Where giving credit to where it's due. And that's why we said with the Negro Leagues and stuff, y'all, black brothers and sisters, and this goes for anybody else who want to start out on their own, want to break away and start out on your own. Understand that the influence is on us all, guys. It's not just in one place. So just because they own all the money don't mean you cannot be successful somewhere. Prior to 1993, this is coming from NFL.com, by the way. WWE does this with their stuff here, where they've owned the WCW, and heaven forbid if something happens here with AEW, where they'll own AEW's content, okay? And you start to put a certain spin story on the thing. Again, there's a need for competition, y'all, because again, just in the balance of things, you see different views. Prior to 1993, the Super Bowl halftime shows were not as popular. If you go back, you look at some of the headlines, say from when it first started in the 60s, I believe. If you're going to go back into before NFL was a thing, you had other things there. But we're just talking about from the NFL, from the start of the Super Bowl, right? They weren't as popular. They were just made for that game. Right, it wasn't made really to bring in worldwide attention, blah, 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 right? They usually had themes such as Winter Magic, a 1992 Winter Olympic show. And again, this is something that's, they have the history of it. You can look right on Wikipedia, look at the sources. It's right there, right? This is something you can find in a book somewhere. I mean, this is for real, right? Or Bebop Bamboozled. Anyway. In 1992, Fox decided to air a live episode of the popular TV show In Living Color. Now, we all know, right? Bunch of black folks, we dancing, singing, joking. Of course, Jim Carrey got his start there on a show owned by black folks, right? Tommy Davidson and the Wayans brothers, right? The whole gang there, okay? Hit its comedy sketch starring aforementioned Jim Carrey and the Wayans brothers, amongst others, to compete with the halftime programming on CBS. Right? See, again, this is competition thing. Business is competition, guys. Small, big, in between. in Living Color drew over 20 million viewers that episode. This has happened a bunch of times in history when folks get together, the power that there is in getting together. It sparked changes to the Super Bowl halftime show moving forward. The following, and see, it don't even take long. See, when people talk about doing right toward folks, it don't take long. And people make it take long. It don't take long. Oh boy, you talk about reconstructuring and doing this, that, and y'all can, but again, they got all this money for these migrants coming in, don't they? See, people need to really understand the hustle game being played here, but I digress. The following year for Super Bowl, I won't say this is 28, Michael Jackson gave that epic concert performance that we've all seen, which was a good performance, okay? It was one of the great performances, it was. And the halftime show has been a culture phenomenon, mass media extravaganza ever since, end quote. Realize, guys, that you don't get out of life what you don't ask for. Which is why that thing I played for y'all with Jay-Z is important. You keep coming, you keep showing up. You keep asking. The Bible says, ask and you shall receive. No ifs, ands, or buts. You got to keep at it. So, that's what I got for y'all, ladies and gents, today. Went a little longer than I thought, but so be it. We will continue on the road here. Thank you for joining me, for listening in. Absorbing some of this information and take it in and see for yourself. And as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.